Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this latest episode of Tales from Outer Space, taken from the subreddit HFY. The links to all the stories will be down below, and as always, I hope that you enjoy. And if you do, please consider subscribing. Story number 1. Pretty Little Deathworlders. Game on. Written by giftedearth. The smallest species to be part of the Stellar League were the Senseti. The average Senseti barely came to a human's knee. They were light, insect-like, and had amazing natural camouflage. This meant that their interstellar niche was espionage, because it was nearly impossible to spot a trained Senset who didn't want to be spotted. Saturn Dalkisnamat was the head of the Senseti science team aboard the Centauri Joint Research Station. She had been rather interested in the human race, and had volunteered to come and check them out. Now, she was seated in front of the comm screen, communicating across countless light years with her direct superior. Science Captain Korean Dal Nexamar stared at Dal Kisnamat in disbelief. "I'm sorry, they're drinking what?" "Doozy toxins mixed with water and some sort of plant juice from their home world. It's quite interesting, actually. The juice metabolizes through a certain internal pathway, and through a lucky coincidence, that's the same pathway that the doozy toxins follow in the human body. The juice therefore causes the worst of the toxins to be filtered out before they can have an effect." Captain Dal Naxamar trolled in annoyance. "Dal Kisnamat, please focus. I've been talking about the Internal Security Council about the humans." That did get Dal Kilsamat's attention. "Sir?" "Short version, they don't trust them. If humans turn against us, a very real possibility, then this incident with the doozy toxins tells us most of our chemical defenses probably won't work against them. Hell, even the capsaicin might not slow them down for long." "Sir, they ain't that too." "Yes, I know, but they still probably won't want it sprayed in their faces." Dal Nexamar sighed. "Listen, the Council are concerned that we may end up in a situation where we become a prey of the Deathworlders predator that can tear us limb from limb, won't respond to chemical defenses, and do not stop once they've started. I don't want it to happen. No one does. But it could." The Kismanat drooled in agreement. "So, what I need to do is evaluate their capabilities. You're a xenobiologist, so you have the perfect cover. Find out what their weaknesses are. See how they train for battle. We need to know how to fight something that is much, much better at fighting than we are." "Hey, Doc," Walker said. "I'll trade you 2 high priests for that lay saint you got." Kalvati laughed out loud. They were 2 out of 5 plays in an intense game of La Checa, 2 weeks after the now infamous toxin incident. "A lay saint is worth much, much more than 2 high priests," Dulkismanat pointed out, "especially since she is the saint of the valleys, which can use his miracle ability in the next phase." "He can?" "Oh yeah, that's a bad deal, isn't it?" He laughed a bit sheepishly. Let me see. Would anyone else like to make the trade?" "Don't ask me," Morpher grumbled, staring glumly at the 3-card hand. "Stupid divine curse." Walker took another sip of his whiskey. That was one big advantage of being human. Nobody tried to steal your drinks. The whiskey was so strong that if Dalkasmanat had dipped her toes in it, they would probably have died of severe alcohol poisoning within the hour, given how small they were. Yamada's alcohol-free sake, on the other hand, had been a huge hit. "Nobody? I guess I'll just play and fold for this phase." He dished out 2 high priests and then played the sacred right card. Kulzak nearly choked on his smoothie when he saw the right. "The right of the moon's passing. How long have you been holding on to that?" "What does that one do again?" Kalvati asked. "It prevents all saints from being played in the next phase," Kulzak explained, "meaning you probably should have taken the deal, Kalvati." God, he shrieked in tail bristling. Walker's face split into what the others now recognized as a smarmy grin. I observed that he's still in the last place, Malfa said, but that was clever, Walker. Well played. Yes, very well played, Dalkismanat said. You're a quick learner, actually. That reminds me, we're all big fans of this game, but what about human games? You might have mentioned something called, poker, was it? Oh, I've never been good at that, Walker said, after taking a well-earned sip of whiskey. My poker face is terrible. I get all sweaty. No, I'm more into FPSs. That's the first-person shooters. I'm not sure if that'd be your thing. I don't know about that, Dalkismanat said. I'd like to see that, if you brought any with you. No, sure. I'll show you later. Whose turn is it? Mine, Malfa spat. Not that it matters, because the curse is still in effect and I can't do anything. That, said Kolzak with a twitch of its antennae, is what you get for blasphemy. The next day, the brake ship saw Dalkismanat fluttering down the human habitation section and knocking very politely on Walken's door. After a moment he opened it. He had a strange-looking visor on his head, though he pushed it up above his eyes. Oh, hey, Dalkismanat, he gestured for them to enter. I was just making sure the rig adjustments worked. Come on. Dalkismanat did so. This was the first time that she'd been inside the human's habitation area. Walker's quarters were bigger than hers, probably because he was substantially larger himself. It was fairly standard, a soft resting area in the human style, a desk to work at, artwork on the walls to remind him of home, a variety of reading material, and a personal entertainment area. The entertainment area had a wide, soft seat and a large screen, and a small black box that was connected to the screen via a cable. On the screen was what Dalkismanat presumed to be the menu screen from inside the video game of some kind. I like your art, Dalkismanat said politely. Oh, thanks. It's mostly movie posters. He shut the door behind him. Do you want me to get you a drink? Thank you, but I brought my own. She held up a water bottle, which was comically small compared to the vessel that he drank out of. So, what's the game? Come over here and I'll show you. Walker took her over to the entertainment area. The name of the game was, according to Dalkismanat's translator, Things in the Dark. What does the name mean? Okay, so, humans have a pretty terrible night vision, all things considered. A lot of the monsters we came up with as a species are things that lurk in the darkness, that we can't see very well. This game is about fighting those things. Useful information. Humans did have weaknesses. Poor night vision. Dalkismanat didn't let her delight show on her face, instead fluttering agreeably as she listened to Walker's explanation. Unfortunately, there's no way the VR rig is going to fit you. Sorry, but you can't see what I'm seeing on the screen. Fair warning, it's a bit gory. Don't worry, I'm a biologist. I've seen a lot of gore in my time. Dalkismanat observed Walker and showed her the virtual reality equipment, explained the game setting and plot, and took her through the controls. It was all useful information about human technology, human culture, and how humans physically interacted with the world. The recording device she wore in her translation gear caught it all. Later, she sent it back home, where it could be properly analyzed. With the explanations done, Walker donned the visor properly and prepared to play. There was a brief buffering segment, and then the game world loaded in. Walker adjusted his stance to better fit the combat situation. His dominant hand was gripping a crude replica of a gun. The world of the game resembled images that had seen on human cities, at least in terms of architecture. But something was wrong. They were partly in ruins, vehicles abandoned, foliage growing where it shouldn't, windows smashed, buildings crumpled. The world was dim, with only moonlight letting Walker or Dalkismanat see any of this at all. Dalkismanat made a personal note that the Earth's moon apparently reflected quite a bit of light onto the planet. Walker's avatar moved quickly through the game world, picking up supplies for battle. As he did so, a strange groaning noise could be heard. They reminded Dalkismanat of the noises that humans made in the morning after drinking too much ethanol. Walker became more on edge the louder they got. He readied his weapon and adopted a sneaking pose, moving quietly through the abandoned city. This was all rather mundane, at least so far. The concept of stealth wasn't lost on most species. In fact, being good at it was one quite helpful for prey animals, so stealth games were quite popular on pretty much every inhabited planet. It made sense that the humans would also enjoy it. Predators benefited from stealth attacks, after all. Although he didn't seem to be hunting anything, his movement patterns were more reminiscent of a prey than a predator. After a minute or two of hiding, Dalkismanat finally caught sight of what Walker was hiding from. They were a lot like humans, but they were shambling and groaning endlessly. A wave of nausea ran through Dalkismanat when she realized what they looked like. Are those corpses? The Walker nodded, not really taking his focus off the game. They're called zombies. A stock horror monster. The dead come back to life and try to eat people's brains. If they bite you, they turn you into one of them. Dalkismanat felt sick again. It was quite natural biological reaction, really. Rotting corpses smelt badly, so most sapient species had adapted to get rid of them as quickly as possible, so as to not attract predators. The idea of these corpses becoming predators was horrifying. Walker continued to avoid the zombies as best he could, but eventually he came to an open area with several of the shambling around. He sighed and readied his gun before jumping out and unloading onto the zombies. They noticed him immediately and started moving towards him. He mostly aimed his weapon at their heads and not at the center mass. Isn't that inefficient? Dalkismanat asked. I mean, their heads are small. They've got to be hard to hit. Zombies only die if you destroy the brain, Walker explained. Shooting the chest doesn't mean anything. Oh crap, hang on. The zombies were swarming him and he was becoming overwhelmed. He moved his avatar to the side area and climbed up onto some kind of mental container. It gave him an immediate height advantage over the zombies, who didn't seem to be much for climbing. Walker continued shooting at them, finding it was easier to hit their heads now that he was looking down at them. How are you aiming so well? Dalkismanat asked. You have an incredibly accurate percentage. Are you trained in this? Huh? No, I'm actually kind of average at this game. He gritted his teeth as he had to pause to reload. I'm probably screwed here, actually. I should have kited them to the edge of the zone and then made a break for the level end. I don't have enough ammo and trying to melee this many is a death sentence. Sure enough, Walker ran out of ammo and resorted to pulling out the crowbar and trying to hit the zombies with it. He overbalanced while trying to reach them, fell, and that was the end of that. The screen turned red and a large game over notice appeared. Walker pulled off his headset and sighed. That was embarrassing. Dalkismanat was quiet for a moment, pondering what Walker had just told her, or rather, what he hadn't directly told her, but which was implied. That was an average aim. Yeah? Average by human standards. What's your point? Dalkismanat fluttered up to Walker's shoulder and examined them more closely. He seemed surprised and a little more annoyed by her getting into his personal space. She backed off and landed back down onto his sofa. That explains it. We saw through our research that your species tended to use ranged weapons, but couldn't figure out why. The structure of your shoulders is totally different. You can't throw with accuracy, right? Walker nodded. We had a whole sports based around it. Ask Romero about the basketball sometime. His eyes widened. Wait, not a lot of species on our planet are good at throwing. Does the same apply to aliens? Yes, well, the Vakar can throw well, but not very accurately. Your spatial awareness allows you to aim without aid. She pointed at the screen. If I tried something like that, my shots would largely not have hit their heads. Huh. That's actually pretty interesting. He scratched his chin. We just learned something from this. Maybe we should try a different game, see if we can find one that you're better at than a human. That was a brilliant idea. It would allow Dalkismanat to work out an advantage her species had over humans, and that would give her lots of data to send back to the home world. I'd like that. Orkan bared his teeth in a grin. It felt threatening, but Dalkismanat knew that for a human it was a friendly gesture. She was still unnerved. Well, before we do that, maybe we should break out the traditional gaming food and drink. You have traditional food and drink for video games? Oh yeah. Walker went over to his personal storage and pulled out some packages. These are Doritos. They're crunchy and a bit hot, and they get powder everywhere. They're good. And this is... oh damn. You probably can't drink this. It's got a ton of caffeine. Dalkismanat quickly looked up caffeine on her data screen. Actually, I probably can, since City are pretty good with stimulants. Seriously? Alright, I'll pour you a shot glass of it, and let's get started. Hey, why is this a city biologist bouncing off the walls? Dude, she looks like a squirrel on coffee. I thought we were the ones who looked more like squirrels. Well, she said her species was good with stimulants, and we were gaming, so... You gave her Mountain Dew, says the guy who drank the killer plant juice. She really liked it, and she's adorable. How could I say no? Yamada rubbed his temples. Stop causing diplomatic incidents with drinks. End of story number 1. I hope that you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider subscribing. If you wish to support the author, there is a link to the original story, so pop over there and give him your support. If you wish to support this channel, however, there are a few ways to do so. The best and easiest would be to share this video with other people, as well as liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. All of these things tell the algorithm that this channel is at least vaguely interesting, and that may share it with other people. If you wish to support the channel in some other manner, watching my other videos would also help tremendously. Or, if you really like, there is a link down below to leave a tip or to join the Patreon. Any and all support is very much appreciated. And I hope that you all have a good one until the next time, and I'll see you then. Cheers.